Good morning, and welcome to Lesson 1, Video 32. Now, for those of you who are new to these series of videos, this ain't gonna make sense unless you're looking at the latest version of the practice text. I have no imagination, so the practice text is entitled The First Set of Lesson Texts. Now, if you don't have that open in front of you, no problem. Below this video are two links. The second one should take you to the class materials page for the first quarter. The second item on that page will be the link to download this free PDF. Now, if you're watching this on the internet someplace other than its dedicated YouTube page, you won't have the video. The links. So that's simple. Just go down to look towards the lower right-hand corner of the screen. You'll find the icon for YouTube. Give that a click or two, and that'll take you to the dedicated page for this video, and you'll find those two links. Now, second proviso, if this is your first time watching any of my videos, do yourself a favor. Go back to Lesson 1, Part 1. Start from the beginning. You don't have to watch all 32 videos in one day. Limit yourself, one or two a day. That'll be fine. You'll be caught up in no time. That works much, much better. Some people think they are far too wise and insightful to trifle with, starting from the beginning. That never works well. Start from the beginning. You'll be glad you did. Okay, have we cleared the room? Okay, now the spiritual commandos are here. Those who have the humility and the enthusiasm to watch this series of lesson videos from the beginning. Okay, kids. Join me on page 10 of the first set of lesson texts. In our last video, we explored the first exercise on page 10. Predictably, in this video, we're going to explore the second exercise on page 10. For my American friends out there, this means peace, but in Britain, this means fuck you. So don't get them confused unless you want to be on the losing end of a bar fight. Peace? Not so much with the peace. You might want to bear that in mind. Okay. So the second exercise on page 10 is the concise Manipa's heart. Okay. Pop quiz. Are these prayers? No, these really aren't prayers. Prayer is someone beseeching a higher power for their good favor, and it's very it's kind of a power play type of thing. For instance, if you were a prisoner in chains and someone's about to chop your head off, you might kneel and beg them not to chop your head off. That's someone with no power or little power beseeching someone with great power. That's not the whole Buddhist idea of a dedication of virtuous merit. This is a lot more like a transaction at a self-serve gas station. You walk in, you're very courteous, you read their name tag, and her name tag might say, Joyce. You say, good afternoon, Joyce. I've got $20 right here. Would you please put that on pump 8? And they say, of course. Have a beautiful day. You too. Thank you. Bye. So it's very courteous, but she's not doing you a favor. She's doing her job. You're giving her money. She's giving you access to a pump for X number of gallons. So here's the deal. A dedication of merit is the same thing. Only instead of coming into a mini mart with $20 bill in your hand, you're carrying an armful, a bushel, if you will, of good karma that you've just generated through various and sundry practices of devotion, awareness, love, and letting go. Or in our case, more specifically, the devotion of invocation through the 6-syllable mantra, the cunning use rhetorical, assumptive, well-worded, mantra and power questions that are useful both for awareness training and for wisdom training. And the intention to use our good karma in a way that profits ourselves and all other beings. Armed with that intention and that action and that energy, we now invest that energy through these recitations or dedications of good karma or dedications of virtuous merit. A dedication is kind of like sitting in a sailboat and guiding the rudder, guiding the tiller. That's exactly what it's like. So often, translating texts from one language to another language, something gets lost. Not all translators are Buddhas. Not all translators are sixth Bhumi Bodhisattvas. Most are barely one Bhumi Bodhisattvas. Remember, Bhumi is a level. So if you're a first Bhumi Bodhisattva, you're less of a tenth of the way to being a Buddha. So, don't expect too much. Most translations are profoundly flawed. That's just the nature of the beast. Some people say, which books do you recommend? Hardly any. Most of them really suck. In fact, it's not a question of finding good Dharma books. It's a question of finding Dharma books that suck the least. Sad but true. Most are written at the most by sixth Bhumi Bodhisattvas from a fundamentalist, sectarian, fear-motivated point of view. It's very, very rare to find Buddhist instruction written from the 10th Bhumi, from a non-sectarian point of view, from a liberal point of view. And which is one of the reasons I'm making this series of videos, to help folks out, to release them from limiting preconceptions. So, second exercise, page 10. The concise Manipa's heart. What's a Manipa? If you guessed Manipa is a Tibetan word, you're right. Oh, do you hear that sound? That's Basement Cat critiquing the video so far. Come here, Basement Cat. Say hello to the nice people. Okay. Mani, if it sounds familiar, it's from the 6-syllable mantra Om Mani Padme Hum. And so in Tibet, Mani is one of the nicknames for the 6-syllable mantra. Basement Cat wants to be let out. Come on, Basement Cat. Go outside. Make friends. Have fun. Out you go. Who was it who defined cats as four-legged creatures that are ever on the wrong side of a closed door? Anyway, so Amani is one of the nicknames for the 6-syllable mantra. Manipa means, in Tibet, person of the Mani, or in other words, a devotee of, he's basically a Buddhist practitioner who has made the Mani the center of a spiritual practice. It's his main mantra, it's his main practice. So this exercise is called the concise Manipa's heart, which means that this exercise is like communicates the heart essence of what it means to be a Manipa, or an enthusiastic practitioner of the 6-syllable mantra. Concise infers that there's another version that's extensive, and we'll cover that in another lesson. Not today. Not today. So let's begin. And this is a fun journey. We begin with our... It's almost as if we're standing in the center of a bullseye. And we start with our own... with just mundane needs, and we work outward. Some people believe they're far too spiritual to address their mundane needs. I'm here to tell you, everything's interconnected. And if your mundane needs aren't met, it makes it very, very difficult to practice the Dharma. If you're not brushing your teeth and get a horrible gum infection, not only could it be excruciating to recite the mani, or even impossible, but your infection could go septic and kill you. What should be really push back your Dharma practice, really slow it down if you're dead. So, everything affects everything. We must honor the mundane needs of ourselves and others. Some people believe that meeting the needs of the homeless is far beneath them. They're too spiritual. Well, listen. There's a wonderful tradition amongst the Buddhist saints of doing what they can for the poor. Now, most Buddhist saints aren't known for their fabulous wealth, but if they have some food, they can share it. If they have some garments, they can share them. If they have some kindness, they can share them. If they have some blessings, they can share them as well. In America, there is this ridiculous fear that people who ask for our help don't deserve our help. And the answer, quite eloquently, is, so what? It's not our job to decide whether people are worthy of our help. Help as many as you can. Do what you can, and then let go. Oh, what a surprise. The Buddhist monk is talking about letting go. Yes, I am. Do what you can, and then let go. A very famous Jew told the story once of the widow's mite. And people were making offerings at the temple. A widow came and gave a very, very small offering. And Jesus said, that's the biggest offering I've seen all day. And the disciples said, are you nuts? This is just a little bit she gave. And the answer was, yeah, but to her it was a great big deal. So here's the deal. You do what you can. It's the intention that counts. Atisha, the great Bengali saint who went to Tibet in the 11th century to participate in their renaissance, their spiritual renaissance, taught his I don't know how to say it. What's the best way to say it? His chief disciple, his chief Tibetan disciple, Lama, that it's the intention that counts. So you do what you can. For instance, we just generate a lot of good karma, so we can spend that good karma on everybody's needs. So the first line reads, may everyone be healthy, wealthy, and happy. What's the second line? May everyone practice skillfully and joyfully. When we say practice, we mean Dharma practice. We mean that, for instance, I've just received this practice. You've just received the practice. Everyone who's reciting this dedication of virtuous merit has just received a fabulous practice that only takes 9 minutes to perform. It's wonderful. And so your intention is that not only may everyone receive this practice, but do it, and do it correctly. Because doing something in a lame, spastic, half-assed way, no matter how enthusiastic you are, is still lame, spastic, and half-assed, and consequently, not terribly productive. But what's the last bit of the second line? And joyfully. I'm not sure if you're a sci-fi geek like me, I'm not sure if you're a movie buff like myself, but I have seen Lawnmower Man a bunch of times. And one of the characters in there had a brother who was an abusive Roman Catholic priest. And so confronting his abusive brother as he was beating the snot out of the lawnmower boy, or lawnmower man, he said, in a wonderful Irish brogue that I can't hope to imitate, he said, "Oh, don't be such a pious asshole." Folks, it will not benefit any of us to behave like a pious asshole. We don't want to fall in the traps of perfectionism or crankiness. That's why, in addition to practicing skillfully, we want to set intention to practice joyfully. We're going to do our best but we're not going to operate under the misapprehension that we're going to do it perfect ever, no less every time. We aren't the perfect people who do everything perfect all the time. We're the klutzes, we're the schlubs, we're the fortunate fuck-ups who stumble across the victory line, but make no mistake about it, we cross the finish line. The perfectionists never do. The rigidity inherent in perfectionism is the antithesis and the obstacle to the flexibility and the spontaneity required to truly internalize and be transformed by this spiritual system. So we do our best to apply the instructions that we've received, but we do so gently and playfully and joyfully. In future videos, you'll see me lead you through practice. I will make mistakes. Sometimes I'll act like I'm tripping on my tongue. Sometimes I'll mispronounce a word. And often you'll hear me laugh at myself or make fun of myself. Have fun. I'm a sickly fellow. At times you'll see me tick or twitch. That's just the spin of my genetic roulette wheel. But you'll see me make plenty of mistakes. Hopefully you'll see me have fun and be playful and be resilient and be flexible. I do not invite you to model my disabilities, but I invite you to meddle, like that? That's a mistake right there. I invite you to model my playfulness, my resilience. It'll benefit you a great deal. Let's continue. Third line of the second exercise on page 10. May everyone accomplish chain Sieg in this life. Well, who is chain Sieg? We'll get more into that in the second lesson. Chain Sieg is the Tibetan way of name for the Buddha of Compassion. In Sanskrit, the Buddha of Compassion is Avalokiteshvara. In some dialects of China, it's Quan Yin or Quan Yin. In Japan, it's Quan Zion or Quan Non. In Vietnam, it's Quan Theam. And of course, in Tibet, it's Chain Sieg. Did I say Quan Theam? It's Quan Am in Vietnam. My mistake. See? Another mistake. There you go. So what does it mean to accomplish Chain Sieg? Let's pretend we were in the Middle Ages. Let's pretend we were, apprentices of a swordsmith. When our swords looked and felt just like our master's swords, when they had the same resilience and durability and all the same virtues and qualities, then it would be said that receiving a sword made by by us was just like receiving a sword made by our master. At that point, we had accomplished the skill of our master. So likewise, when we have, let's pretend that the Chain Sieg, the Buddha of Compassion, was not born a Buddha, was born of regular folks just like you and me, born screaming in mucus. Just like all of us. Found a spiritual teacher, applied his instructions, was transformed by them. If we follow in his footsteps, then we will have accomplished Chain Sieg. So, just like we discussed in the previous lesson, when we learn the techniques of devotion, awareness, love, and letting go, we master them to such a degree that we're able to practice them spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. Then we will have accomplished Chain Sieg. So may everyone accomplish Chain Sieg in this life. So it's not just praying for ourselves. We're not just saying, hey, may I do this deal so I can stand up and be truly Bob Bitchin'. No. We're not saying that at all. We're saying, may everyone do this deal. And we're saying, lastly, in this life. We're not saying after an aeon. We're not saying after 100 lifetimes. We're not saying after 7 lifetimes. We're saying in this lifetime, and that's radical. And in recent centuries, people began saying, "Oh, it takes a long aeon to become a Buddha. Oh, it takes 7 lifetimes to become a Buddha." Hey, check this out. At the end of the Satipatthana Sutta, it is written that Buddha taught that by applying these instructions enthusiastically and correctly, one could accomplish a path in as little as 7 years, or 7 months, or 7 weeks, or even 7 days. Now, a lot of poop heads run around saying, "Oh, those were for special people. Oh, those were for special times." What an effective way of minimizing their gross inadequacies. Folks, if your teacher hasn't accomplished the 10th Bhumi, find one who has. If your teacher hasn't helped any other people accomplish the 10th Bhumi, find one who has. They're out there. You just have to really, really look. So, not only are we dedicating our merit to everyone being healthy, wealthy, and happy, and not only are investing our good karma in people practicing skillfully and joyfully, but we're investing our good karma in people accomplishing the path, everyone accomplishing the path in this life, which is quite lovely. And then here comes the 4th line, and then help many others do likewise. How many people here, show of hands, how many people have ever seen even a single episode of South Park? Everyone remembers Eric Cartman. He was just an evil little kid. You know, one of Eric Cartman's favorite lines, I haven't really seen the show for a very long time, but one of his favorite lines is, "Screw you guys, I'm going home." And a lot of people think they're spiritual by saying, "I don't care what anyone does, I'm going to become a Buddha, I'm going to become enlightened, I'm going to become self-actualized, you guys can fuck off because I'm so goddamn spiritual." Right. Listen, folks, if you have a fuck-off attitude because I'm too damn spiritual, listen, that ain't spiritual. Love is part of the spiritual path. No love, no enlightenment. Sorry. So and this is we'll explore this more in the 3rd lesson. We simply must apply the techniques that will allow us to cultivate an enthusiastic concern for the well-being of others. Don't be confused by false compassion or false love. False compassion or false love pretends to be very aloof and says, "Oh, they can't help murdering their family. They were abused as children." Fuck that shit. Listen. Compassion and love does not justify, minimize, rationalize, excuse, or fatalize inappropriate behavior. Love and compassion says, listen, if someone's suffering, I want them to stop suffering. I want to help them stop suffering. If someone is creating the causes for future suffering, I want to do what I can to help them stop creating those causes for future suffering. If someone has a need, I want to help them meet that need. I want to do all these things directly. If I can't do them directly, I want to do them indirectly. If I can't do them corporeally, then I want to do them spiritually. But I want to at least do something to help these people out. So, whether it's compassion, whether it's love, it's predicated on being aware of someone's needs. Here's the deal. For practicing false compassion or false love, or I should say self-righteous compassion or self-righteous love, that is tantamount to doing this. La 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 la, there are no needs, everyone's perfect, la 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 la. You're not going to meet anybody's needs. You might make yourself feel happy, or certainly make yourself look stupid, but you're not helping anybody. Listen, if some fool is beating his wife, his greatest need is not to have feelings protected. Oh, I don't want to confront the man who beats his wife. Oh, goodness, I might hurt his feelings. You know what? He might need his feelings hurt. He probably does. There's a whole school of psychotherapy called Gestalt therapy, where the therapist looks at the person, sees a pattern for their issues, addresses their key issue, usually by saying something so horribly offensive that it sticks in their craw for hours or days or weeks or months. But because it sticks in their craw, because it cannot be instantly, easily dismissed, it, according to theory, helps to transform them. And if anyone has ever endured Gestalt therapy, I'm sure you'll agree that it was invented by Thomas de Torquemada of the Inquisition. Of course, not being funny. It really sucks. It's painful, but it can be effective. So, as a Bodhisattva, don't worry, this is just your first lesson. You're probably not a great Bodhisattva yet. But once you're a Bodhisattva, sometimes you'll have to meet someone's needs by saying something that may make them angry or sad or pissy or defensive. But if you're skillful and wise and loving, it'll stick in their craw and transform them. Remember the oyster. An irritant gets in the shell, and the oyster transforms that irritant into a beautiful pearl. Likewise, there are ways for high bodhisattvas to transform people. And when they do this, it's something called expedient, means they're more concerned with their long-term happiness than their short-term happiness. In other words, they'll often say something a little bit harsh, or occasionally say something a little bit harsh, to create this huge shift in their life. So they'll stop beating their wife, or stop kicking their dog, or stop cursing their kids, or stop, being a fool who's destroying their own life and subverting their own happiness. So, contrary to popular belief, a bodhisattva's first job is not to judge. No, that's incorrect. A bodhisattva's first job isn't never to hurt someone's feelings. No. Bodhisattva's job is to be aware of people's needs and meet those needs in the best way possible. Some people are ready for a hands-on blessing, bless their heart. Some people are ready for a teaching, that's great. Some people aren't. Some people you just have to plant the seeds. And so, fourth line, and then help many others do likewise. Now here's the cool thing. I'm not saying that someday when you become a Buddha on Saturday mornings and you put on your best polyester suit, wake up, walk up, knock on people's doors at 7 o'clock in the morning, wake them up, and, invite them to become a Jehovah's Witness. No. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying that once you've accomplished the 10th Bodhisattva Bhumi, once you've mastered Buddha's teachings, and once you possess the spiritual mastery of a Buddha and the resilience of an Arhat, and in fact are one, people will come to you. And some of them will come to you and they'll be ready for your help. Some of them won't. But people will come to you. And so what you're doing right now is spinning your karma so that not only will you accomplish the path, but you'll accomplish the path in the way that's most beneficial for everyone else, which is really cool. Because face it, all of us on some level are looking for meaning in our life. Yes, we want creature comforts. Yes, we want shelter and clothing and food. Yes, everyone wants sex. Everyone wants companionship. Yes, most people want entertainment, books, movies, TV, radio, whatever. But on a deeper level, all of us want our lives to count for something. We want to leave this life better than we found it. That's one of the reasons so many people get involved in circulating petitions and making calls to senators about ecological issues or social justice issues or human rights issues or economic issues. And those are lovely things. That's a great use of social media on the internet. Bravo, well done. All of us want our lives to count for something. All of us are like Thomas Anderson, a.k.a. Neo in the Matrix. Although we may be a mild-mannered software engineer during the day, and our hearts were born to, be spiritual superheroes who flee and defy the Matrix by night. Did I say flee? I meant fly. Anyway, see another error. And that's really cool. So the idea here is we're spending our energy meet people's corporeal needs, their spiritual needs, and help them accomplish the path, and turn around and help others do likewise. Paying it forward, just like that wonderful movie with Kevin Spacey and Helen Hunt. I love the movie Paying It Forward. If you haven't seen it, rent it, get it on Netflix, or look it up on YouTube. Wonderful, wonderful movie. We can all pay it forward. We're usually concerned with paying it back. Someone did something nice to you, you want to do something nice back to them. But what if you did someone did something super nice to you, and you turned back to them and said, well, I don't know how I'll ever pay you back. And they said, what if they said, you don't have to pay me back, but do pay it forward. In the future, when you have the opportunity, do a super nice thing for 3 different people as you go through life, or more. And what if people were always looking for opportunities, not like predators, not like sharks, seeking for prey whom they may devour, but what if people were like bodhisattvas, looking for opportunities where they could be of service? Maybe something as innocuous as petting a cat while whispering a prayer, or saying something, or performing an act of kindness to a neighbor or child, or perhaps comforting a friend or neighbor when they've had a loss. Just something real big. How would this world be shifted if everyone was just rabid to do good deeds? Not because they thought neurotically it would make them good people, but because they just wanted to make the world a better place, or even better yet, because they had a low threshold for other people's suffering and a genuine hunger to see everyone benefited somehow. Ideally, use the phrase, in the most wonderful way. So, what are the first 4 lines of the second exercise on page 10? May everyone be healthy, wealthy, and happy. May everyone practice skillfully and joyfully. May everyone accomplish Chenrezig in this life, and then help many others do likewise. 5th line, I love this one. For truly that is the meaning of life. How many of us, show of hands, how many of us have seen the bumper sticker that says, he who dies with the most toy wins? Guess what? He still dies. We're all going to die. Earth has a 100% mortality rate. Ask Lao Tzu, ask Buddha, ask Christ. All dead. Everyone dies. Few of us live life meaningfully. So what's the meaning of life? Captured in these 4 lines. Captured in these 4 lines. And then we're going to take all those 5 lines of wonderful intention and kick them up a notch with an additional recitation of the 6-syllable mantra. So we've just taken our good karma, invested it in our spiritual development, invested it in everyone else's spiritual development, and consequently, we've multiplied our good karma. We not only protected it, we've multiplied it, which is awesome. So together, let's recite this in a question and answer format, in a sing-song format. May everyone be healthy, wealthy, and happy. May everyone practice skillfully and joyfully. May everyone accomplish Chenrezig in this life, and then help many others do likewise. For truly that is the meaning of life. Om Mani Padme Hum. In the next video, we're going to explore the 3rd and final exercise of this lesson. How fun will that be? I thank you for your time and your kind attention. May you and yours be healthy and happy. Om Mani Padme Hum. I'm going to make sure I'm doing this right. Here we go. Let's see. We go over here. Towards the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, there's a button that says likes, a little thumbs up button. Click that button. That'll open up 3 social networks buttons. Click those 2. Share this video on your social networks. Whether your social network has 3 people or 3,000 people, get the ball rolling. You might not be a 10th movie Bodhisattva at this instant, but you can expose people to the teachings without being pushy, without knocking on the door at 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Just by using social media to its highest application. I guarantee it. If you share my videos, eventually someone is going to see it. What a fun way to make a karmic connection with people. How many of us have seen It's a Wonderful Life. It's a silly, sappy black and white movie starring Jimmy Stewart when he was a young man, and there's been a terrible debacle in town, and he's driven to commit suicide. At the last possible minute, he rescues a man who fell in the water. It turns out that man was an angel, Clarence, and that man shows him that his life hasn't been a failure. He's affected tons of people, and that if he hadn't been born, the world around him would have been a much darker, dingier, sadder, uglier place. Now, I don't recommend that we spend our lives looking for Clarence, the Wonder Angel, but wouldn't it be cool to live our lives in such a way that directly and indirectly we're making the world a better place? I'd like to think so. How about you? Lastly, the first link right underneath the video will take you to the registration page so you can participate in the next series of weekly webinars. When do they begin? Friday, the 2nd of November. I'll see you there. Bye-bye.